Well, I'd say in a youth media setting, uh, combating negative archetypes starts first with a really strong foundation in media literacy. And part of that conversation is defining what youth media is in a context where mainstream media dominates the lives of most of our youth. So we start by showing a lot of exemplary examples of youth media. And youth are really adept at picking out differences between mainstream media, or the media that they're used to viewing or consuming, and youth media, which is very different. And they're able to pick out a lot of differences and then hopefully, ideally, make those differences and make these characteristics of youth media part of their own work. And when they begin producing their own video work, we engage them in a fairly lengthy and intense pre-production process. It starts with brainstorming and idea development, and they do a lot of writing about their ideas so that they're really thinking through the representations of youth that they're going to be employing in their work. And as practitioners, it's our responsibility to really ask them difficult questions about how they're portraying youth, how they're portraying each other in their work, so as not to fall into these mainstream media stereotypes or these narrative conventions that are propagated in the mainstream. A lot of times youth get really excited about the opportunity to wield this kind of power. So it's part of our work to challenge young people to use this power to say something, use this power to get something accomplished. And I think part of that is helping them identify issues in their community that they're not happy with, identify issues that aren't being properly addressed. And we ask them questions like, what do youth in your neighborhood need to know? What do they not know? What can you tell them? And then we need to set really high expectations with regard to their responses to these issues. And this means interrogating every stereotype that sort of finds its way into the work. This means doing research and developing really thoughtful solutions to these community issues. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, part of our work is just getting out of the way and letting youth create on their own and seeing what transpires. Two of the most important challenges facing the field as I see it. The first is mainstream media and the dominance of mainstream media, and the second is just lack of funding. I think that as a field we probably haven't done as good a job as we could have in terms of articulating how vitally important our work is to potential funders. So any effort to do this, whether it's creating a larger web presence for the field, and maybe that's somehow linked with creating a website modeled after YouTube or MySpace, or whether it's having more conferences specifically directed toward the youth media field, or more convenings focused specifically on the field. Well, I think these sorts of activities would help raise the profile of the field and potentially attract more funders. In terms of combating mainstream media influence, I think that we should all recognize the responsibility we have as youth media practitioners to build a field that actively resists mainstream ideologies. And I think that that's a very difficult proposition, and it's easier said than done. But I feel like that is, as people who are on the ground doing this work on a daily basis, that's one of the most important parts of our job.